Every athlete that enters the race has the ability to win the race, but the one that wins is the one who just has that edge.
Welcome to our 10 days weight loss challenge, and we are glad for you joining us, fitness enthusiasts. Today, we're looking at exercise as part of the 10-day weight loss challenge component. The program covers 8 key areas, which includes nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust. Let's talk more about exercise for today. One of the key components of this challenge, exercise plays a crucial role in our weight loss journey. It not only helps burn calories, but also boosts our metabolism, making it easier to shed those extra pounds. But remember, it's not just about sweating it out at the gym. It's about finding a routine that works for you. Whether it's a brisk walk, jogging, or a high-intensity workout, the key is to find a balance between different types of exercises, such as cardio, strength training, and flexibility. This will not only help you lose weight, but also improve your overall health. And so, let's embrace this 10-day challenge and make it a habit to incorporate exercise into our daily routine. Stay motivated, stay healthy, and let's conquer our weight loss goals together.
You're looking good. Look at this. Hey. Said, paddle hard or go home.
That's a good one. I like that.
What do you suggest people eat, like as a centenarian? Vegetables. Vegetables. That's good. Bok choy?
Oh, bok choy is okay. It's hard to eat.
Okay. Yeah, but it's good for you, right?
It's good for you.
I like garlic. Oh yeah. What do you think about those oranges? Good, huh?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Barbara O'Neill, a renowned personal trainer, and the model she approaches when it comes to losing weight and the recommended exercise she advocates for. Barbara O'Neill is a firm believer in the power of exercise. For weight loss, she recommends a combination of cardio and strength training for the best results.
Dr. Doug McGuff was asked the question, what is the most important, diet or exercise? His answer surprised me. I agree with him, but surprised me that an exercise physiologist would say this. He said, 80% would be diet. 80% is diet. You cannot exercise your way out of a bad diet. And how many gyms are full of people every evening madly trying to work out or work off the bad food they ate that day. In our final lectures, I will be talking about the mind, and I will be showing you how you can increase your willpower so that you can say, no, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to go this way. As you can see by what I've shown you, exercise is a not negotiable subject. I was having an interview with a friend of mine. He came and did our program. His name is Dave. He said, Barbara, I do not have an hour every morning to do a 5K jog. I nodded because I knew he was going to hear this lecture. I said, Dave, all you need is, 12 minutes? I said, you don't need 5K, and your fitness will improve to a higher level with this interval training compared to the 5K jog. And in his book, Pace, Dr. Al Sears, he quotes stories of people that die on their 5K jog every morning. I'm sure we've all read about it. And yesterday we looked at the acid-alkaline balance in the body. We showed how disease thrives in an acid environment. Can you see with the 5K jog, what's happening to the lactic acid? It's just building up, up, up. And there's nowhere for it to go until he has a rest. Again, as I said, it's not the odd day you might do a 5K jog, and it's not the odd day you don't. It's what you do every day that matters. And I was on a mountain climb, this is a couple of years ago. We were climbing a mountain. It's one of those mountains that you think you're to the top, but But actually when you get to the top, there's another one and there's another one. An hour and a half we were walking like this. Halfway up, he had all these little machines on his wrist to monitor your heart and your breathing. He said, let me try you. Anyway, he put it on and he went. Now, at the time, I think I was about 56 and he was 35. And he did it and he went, he shook his head, he said, man, you're one fit woman. It's just simple. It's got nothing to do with genetics. It's like your bank account. The more money you put in, the more it builds up. The more you put into this, the more you will get out of it. You've probably heard the old saying, when you exercise, you will receive more energy than you expend. And you can see why that is so by what I have told you this week about oxygen.
Cardio, such as running or cycling, helps burn calories and improve cardiovascular health. Strength training, on the other hand, builds muscle mass, which can help boost metabolism and make weight loss easier. O'Neill also emphasizes the importance of consistency and variety in exercise routines. She recommends incorporating different types of exercises, such as high-intensity interval training, to keep your body challenged and prevent PLATAUS. Remember, a healthy lifestyle is all about finding what works best for you and staying consistent.
So, by what I have told you this week about oxygen and how that's what exercise does. Let's go to the children's playground in school. And you know, if you just stand there, you know what you'll observe. And just when I think I can't go on, he looks at me and he says, 20 more. He says, you think you can't do it, but he said, I push through it. He said, I walk out of there just totally exhausted, but he said, mentally revived. Why mentally revived? Because of the oxygen that's going into those brain cells. You will find with just about every author who talks on any form of mental illness, there's one common denominator that all agree with, and that is exercise. The effect of exercise on the brain, it vitalizes it. It vitalizes it, invigorates and electrifies it because of the amount of oxygen that's getting into that brain, allowing the cells to run down into this aerobic part of the brain, giving that much energy to the brain. Flushes out old, stagnant, negative thoughts and gets fresh oxygen in. This explains why Dr. Neil Nedley, when he's speaking on depression, we've got his book, it's called Depression: A Way Out. And it's a great book because he looks at how depression can be managed by lifestyle. Every chapter starts with someone else's story. He says that when he gets a very depressed person come to him, bipolar, schizophrenic, he puts them on 7 hours of exercise a day. Now that's not 7 hours of high intensity. There's probably a couple of bouts of high intensity here and there when they get to a hill. It might be just walking round the town several times. He says he puts them on 7 hours of exercise a day. After 1 week, they are so improved, he said they can go to a 1 hour a day maintenance dose. Now, that's cheap medicine, isn't it? People say, 7 hours of exercise a day? Well, what's a week out of your life? What's your health worth? So exercise, powerful tool in helping with any form of mental illness. One lady rang me and she said, but Barbara, I know, but I just don't feel like getting up and walking. I said, well, sometimes you have to grab yourself by the scruff of the neck and just pull yourself out there. Just put them on, put those shoes on, just push yourself through there. Like this young man, he said when he has finished this workout, he is physically exhausted, mentally revived. There's an old proverb, it's actually found in Ecclesiastes, it says, the sleep of a labouring man is sweet. And this is why when people implement this exercise, they sleep better. Because every cell in the body is getting oxygenated. And do you remember when we looked at oxygen, we looked at how it invigorates, it electrifies, and it vitalizes the body, but it also soothes the nerves. So this young man who's going through this incredibly challenging time is able to sleep. It's hard to sleep straight after a workout, but he sleeps several hours after the workout. And he said that he also found that he needs to eat more food. Because remember what he's laying in here? He's laying in here a bed of hot coals, and the logs can go in. And when you got a bed of hot coals in your fire, no matter how many logs you put in there, it just burns brighter and brighter and brighter. We had a young man came into our program, and he was about 35. He said 3 years ago, I broke my leg, the tibia and the fibula. He said, I was in hospital, ended up being there for 3 months because he said I had to have a plate there, pin and plate. He said it didn't quite take, so they had to do it again. He said they had me in traction. I said, whoa. He said, when I left that hospital, I was the fittest I had ever been. I said, excuse me? You were in a hospital bed for 3 months and you left there fit? He said, yeah, I got my mates to come in. They set up this gym equipment all around my bed, and he said, every hour I'm working out. So no excuse. You're in a hospital bed, still no excuse. You just got to find out how to do it. You got to find out what works for you. If you're a little unstable on your feet, you might find an exercise bike works because you can hold on to it. In these high intensity, you can put in your weight training. You can put in your resistance training. You can put in your strengthening of the abdominal muscles training. And that's what I loved about Al Sears. He said, do it in the backyard. He said, do it on the veranda, do it in your lap. And they found that this type of training gave them that edge. Then the war came, many things were lost. And the next time it was documented was probably the late 80s, early 90s, where a Japanese trainer named Tabata, he was training his figure skating girls in interval training. And this is what he did. He got them to do a high intensity of 20 seconds. And then he got them to do a recovery time of 60 seconds. And this was done for a cycle of 6. Doesn't take very long, does it? And he found the same thing, that his girls had an edge. His girls were breaking records. His girls were bringing home golds. They just had that edge, which defines gold from silver, from bronze for those who don't get a medal. And it was about 2 years ago I read a book called Body by Science by Dr. Doug McGuff. He's a cardiovascular doctor in America. And he heard of the interval training. And he began to implement in his own life a 30 seconds high intensity, a 90 seconds recovery. And he also did this for a cycle of 6. And he says in his book that he couldn't believe what it did for him. His brain was clearer. He was sparkier through the day. He was sleeping better at night. His digestion improved. His colon improved. He said it got to the point where he couldn't hold him down. He seemed to have so much energy. And he began to implement this with his cardiovascular patients. And he found the same thing. The results were amazing. But something else happened. He found that his patients on antidepressants were coming off their antidepressants. He found that his patients on high blood pressure, and of course this is what he did it for heart, it was coming back to normal. Cholesterol was coming back to normal. But something else happened. His diabetic patients were coming off their insulin. He scratched his head with this. He thought, wow, this is amazing. And what I am ever grateful to Doug McGuff for is how he takes you inside the cell. And he shows from inside of the cell why all of these results are happening in the body. Because as I've pointed out this week, that we are just a bunch of cells. And the happenings inside this cell basically is happening in the liver cell, the eye cell, the brain cell, everywhere. So understanding what's happening inside the cell gives us an idea of why these results are happening with this interval training. Before I go there, let me define high intensity. High intensity is running for your life, can't run. Cycling for your life, can't cycle. Swimming for your life. It's going as hard and as fast as you can go. That's your high intensity. What's recovery? Well, if the person's not very fit, their recovery might be leaning against a post and going, whew. If the person's very fit, it might be just a little jog backwards and forwards. For a cyclist, high intensity is cycling up the hill. Recovery is just gliding down the hill. So that's your recovery time done for a cycle. What Doug McGuff shows that when we're getting into easily the second set of high intensity, this is already speeding up. 20 steps speeding up, 8 steps speeding up. Remember, I'll define that for you again. The glucose goes in under the action of insulin. It goes through a 20-step pathway. That 20-step pathway, called the glycolytic pathway, gives us 2 units of energy. Only 2 units.
That's a good one. I like that.